in business, multi seven-figure company, solid offer, smart team was spending roughly 40K a month on marketing ad spends. They had funnels, ads, webinars, email sequences, everything you can imagine, everything that everybody tells you that you need to have. But they were constantly guessing who would show up, guessing who was ready, guessing why somebody clicked, guessing why somebody booked, guessing who had the actual desire to buy. Marketing agency was brilliant. Copywriter was world class. And the offer was strong. Wrong people were coming through the door at the wrong times. They weren't attracting people who were ready. The marketing wasn't bad. Targeting wasn't even bad because there were people were being attracted. It was just attracting people who weren't quite ready. Right. And so once we addressed that, fixed that, then we filtered for readiness, need, and desire. It doubled their sales without changing their offer or increasing traffic. Okay. You don't need more leads. You need the right leads. The right leads. So again, on our way to generating a $500 million plus worth of sales results for clients, we just learned a lot of things here, and that the assumptions we make on the front end have to be tested. You can't just say this should work because somebody says it should, or because the rules of marketing say so. Right? We just have to remember that digital marketing world is still a very new game. It's a new world. This is something that a lot of people are just trying to figure out. 30 years ago when I was in selling jobs, I would go and I would work on sales jobs where the script was written by the founder who had no business writing a script, and the leads was a phone book, and we had to go find them. There wasn't CRMs and funnels and stuff for people to come into, right? So marketing became a much different thing. Marketing was about banners and billboards and branding, right? TV commercials, radio commercials. That was marketing. So this is something that people are still really trying to figure out. So you don't need more leads, you need the right leads. Okay, it's always about having the right conversations with the right people at the right time about the right things. When you optimize for structuring and designing your world in such a way that sales happen, you're going to make sales, regardless if you're a great salesperson. If you master selling, that's great. But master designing your world in such a way that sales happen changes the game for everybody. Here's the truth that most people just don't want to say out loud. Most of your audience is not ready to buy. I think we've all heard that. I'm not convincing anybody here, right? Most of your leads are not ready to buy. Most of your audience is not ready to buy. Most of your traffic is not ready to buy. And most marketing is interruption based marketing. Hey, but a small percentage is ready to buy. They've got the problem, they have the need, and they want to solve it now. You get to master. How do you serve those people? How do you find them? The biggest key differentiator is knowing where they exist. Okay. Most entrepreneurs spray messaging at everybody. And the bigger you go, like the client I was just talking about, at one point, we were doing a great job of reaching a smaller section of the marketplace, very much more targeted and wanting to bring people in. The moment you start looking to scale, you automatically shrink and dilute intimacy, and you dilute the effectiveness. And again, educated guessing is a real thing. We've worked with some of the best marketing companies in the business, of all sizes, shapes, and colors, dozens and dozens of them, and they all vary. In their effectiveness. There's some that are one trick ponies. There's some that try to fit you into their box every time. And then there's some that just are doing the best they can to guess. They see what's going on. They put their finger out and say, hey, which way is the wind blowing? Let's try that. And they're really good at what they do. But without exception, the most effective marketing campaigns that we've seen are ones that people are spending a lot more money than the average company is spending. And so a lot of times it's not necessarily the quality of the marketing, it's the volume that is producing the opportunities. And so educated guessing, yes, and the better you are at it, the more educated your guesses are going to be. But anybody who tells you that marketing is not educated guessing, be very, very cautious and very careful and before you commit to doing some work with them, right? So educated guessing is the problem. Okay, the solution is readiness, need, and desire clarity, something that we call R&D. Right? R&D is something that we live by. It's something that we spend most of our time focusing on. Is how do we get people to readiness, need, and desire? Hey, this is what it looks like, right? We go from educated guessing to readiness, need, and desire to designing the opportunities for people to buy from you. So readiness, need, and desire. Here's what it really looks like. All right. We want to educated guessing, no matter how good your marketing is. Again, if your message hits the wrong buyer temperature, the wrong temperatured buyer, right? It fails. It could be the perfect. They could fit in every other way. They just weren't ready, right? They weren't clear. The not ready buyer gives you low conversions, right? They ghost, endless follow up, price objections, slow growth, because it's not that they weren't a good avatar, it's that they weren't quite ready. They weren't at the intersection of pain, solution, and clarity to be able to take action. And so they just need more time in the crock pot. Right. And that's nothing wrong with that, but we want to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. Okay. So these three filters are going to make a difference for you here. Okay. Readiness, need, and desire. We call it R&D. We're always optimizing for readiness, need, and desire. Okay. Readiness, these are people who are ready to solve the problem. They're looking to solve the problem now, but they also have to meet the criteria of what you could almost call the qualification as well. But in the readiness bucket is, are they ready for you? Meaning, do they have the right size? A lot of times we're working with companies who don't have the lead flow necessary for all the sales solutions that we bring to them. And so they're not ready, even though they have a need. They just might not be at a place where they have enough volume going on, or they don't have enough set up on the front end. You may have somebody, maybe they don't have a big enough team, right? We've done that. We've taken on people who had too small of a team and we buried them, suffocated them in a lot of effort and work to get done. So you need to know, where do they need to be in their relationship, if that's what you do, in their fitness, in their health. Do they have to be at a place where they require a gym membership to be ready? Do they have to be at a place where they have a bigger event that they're committed to so that you can get a better result from the work you're going to do to them? There's no rules to this, right? There's no wrong answer. There's just your answer, right? So you need to be really clear, what is all the criteria that makes them ready for you to get your most optimal work to be done with them. Okay, then the need. Are they needing this? Because no matter what your solution is, very few people are going to buy it just because it looks amazing. So you got to be clear. It's not about pushing on pain. I don't buy into that. We don't want to have to show people pain and push the buttons of pain. The average buyer these days, especially at the lower end of the marketplace, typically they need to feel stimulus before they'll take action. So that's where a lot of that comes from. But you have to make sure that there's a true need for what they're doing. Is this a problem that needs to be solved, is worthy of being solved, that is high enough on the priority scale, that is something that they need to put time, effort, and energy into right now because there's something on the other side of it that they absolutely want to have. Hey, that's need. And then desire is, do they desire this transformation enough to invest in you? Do they have something that they want so clearly, so strongly, so powerfully that they're willing to do whatever they need to do to make it happen? They're willing to invest. They're willing to go through some growth, some struggle, some transformation to be able to make this work. Because the mountaintop experience of what you can deliver, the true outcome of what can happen in your world with them, is got to be worth the price of admission. If they want it badly, then they'll deal with it. They will put themselves into readiness. They will be crystal clear about the need, and it will all fall into play. Okay. And this is really what you're looking for. Right people is always better than more people. You want to be crystal clear when you have readiness, need, and desire. When you're removing the educated guessing, right? That's the hurdle we're trying to overcome. Readiness, need, and desire solves that so that you can then start designing the outcome that you want, which is the right buyers. You put yourself in a position to attract the right buyers because you know what they're ready. What does it take for them to be ready? What is the need quotient that they've got to have? And what is the desirability, right? What is their desire to solve the problem and gain what's on the other side? When you are crystal clear about the readiness, need, and desire of your ideal buyers, you'll be very clear about where you need to market to them, where you need to show up for them to be able to serve them and show up as the ultimate solution, the obvious choice for them to take action on. So if you are feeling this, if this is making sense for you here, then I really want to invite this to you. I want to invite you to have a conversation with us because what we are delivering is a Leads Made Easy 2 day event, virtual, that is coming up here next week. And I really want to land this with you. If you're at a place where you've been talking to the wrong person at the wrong time, maybe they're the wrong temperature, everything else looks right, then you need to be at our Leads Made Easy event. At our event, we're going to be building your R&D buyer profile, right? Your readiness, need, and desire buyer profile from scratch. So you'll understand a lot more about the when of who this person is, even more than the who, right? Too many people are focused on the who, not enough time focused on the when. So you can determine what are the signals, the exact messaging, the triggers of desire, the pain patterns, and the buying window. We know that if you're out there spraying and praying and doing everything you can, you're just trying to post, everywhere you can, and you're getting ghosted and you're hoping for the best, then you need a better approach. And this is the only way we know that wins. We do marketing. We do, we're a smart growth, mature company here. We know how to grow companies well. But we have never seen anything be more effective than our Leads Made Easy process, which helps you truly get in front of people, overcome the challenges that we've been talking about in the crowded market and the educated guessing. And we're going to talk more about next stages of this for day 3 tomorrow. Day 3 is really understanding how do you eliminate confused buyers, because that's the next big hurdle, right? So we'll deal with that one tomorrow. But type in the chat clarity if you want to get crystal clear on how this all works for you, and we get you to the Leads Made Easy event, right? We'll reverse engineer your entire partner ecosystem and put you only in front of the people who are ready to buy now. If you want that clarity, type clarity in the chat. We'll make sure no matter what platform that you are on, we'll get you squared up, taken care of. Let's get you having the right conversations with the right people at the right time about the right things and let sales happen, right? We'll see you on the next one.